Cantor.
On Friday, we will bring to the floor the the Prevention of Government Shutdown Act. And that will say to the American people, the Senate's got to act prior to the expiration of the CR. If it does not act, H.R. 1 becomes the law of the land.
The Government Shutdown Prevention Act says, quote, if the Senate fails to pass a measure before April 6, 2011, providing for the appropriations of the departments and agencies of the government for the remainder of the fiscal year 2011, H.R. 1, as passed by the House on February 19, 2011, becomes law. Everyone in Congress except Eric Cantor knows that the mere passage of a bill in the House never becomes law. Never. Today, House Speaker John Boehner had to restate reality without ever saying how far beyond idiotic Eric Cantor's idea of how to make a law is.
We can't impose our will on another body. We can't impose our will on the Senate. All we can do is to fight for all of the spending cuts that we can get an agreement to, and the spending limitations as well.
John Boehner is obviously embarrassed for Eric Cantor. Someone else has to be embarrassed for Eric Cantor because he's obviously not alert enough to be embarrassed for himself. As Congressman Barney Frank put it last night here, he's one of those people who sometimes inhabit cloud cuckoo land. And let us never forget, this is the same Eric Cantor who introduced the constitutional authority requirement for legislation into the 112th Congress. It was his idea that every bill introduced in the House of Representatives include specific citations for its constitutional authority. It's right here on Cantor's website. A bill or joint resolution may not be introduced unless the sponsor has submitted for printing in the congressional record a statement citing as specifically as practicable the power or powers granted to Congress in the Constitution to enact the bill or joint resolution. Eric Cantor also was one of the lawmakers who read aloud from the Constitution on the floor of the House on the first day of the new Congress. He read Article 1, Section 2, which explains the requirements for being a U.S. representative. He apparently missed the reading of Article 1, Section 7, which explains that the Senate must pass an identical bill to the House before it can be offered to the President for his signature and become law. The other lie in the Government Shutdown Prevention Act is its title. There is absolutely nothing in the bill that can prevent a government shutdown, despite Eric Cantor's absurdist stunts beneath the legislative dignity of any previous leader of the House of Representatives. More responsible members of Congress are moving toward a compromise. Reports indicate that Democrats and Republicans have agreed on a $33 billion cut package, approximately half the amount of cuts House Republicans have been seeking. But in an interview in the last hour, Congressman Cantor shot down that number to CNBC's Larry Kudlow.
Nobody is rallying around that 33. That number is not a number that I ascribe to.
The Tea Party members of the Republican caucus literally did rally today, and it was a rally around a number.
$61.5 billion, that's where the fight came down on H.R. 1, the first CR. All right, so let's fight on that then. That's ground we've taken, let's hold it.
This is a defining moment for the new majority in Congress. Not that $61 billion in cuts is anything to write home about.
Cutting $61 billion, in my opinion, is a starting point. It is not the goal.
Joining me now is a Tea Party Republican lawmaker who spoke at that rally today, Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois. Thanks for joining us tonight, Congressman.
Lawrence, good to be here.
Congressman, did you realize as soon as you heard Eric Cantor say it yesterday that it is, of course, impossible for what you will vote on tomorrow to become law without the Senate taking action?
Look, I think what our leader put forward yesterday and what we will put forward tomorrow we're making a wonderful point, Lawrence. Look, it's been 40 days since we passed a continuing resolution that cut spending and funded government for the rest of the year. and the Senate has given us nothing in response to that. So here we're going to go again, Lawrence, and we're going to put it in front of them again, because the American people want us to do that. And the American people, Lawrence, want the Senate to respond with something.
And you know that the Senate has to respond, Congressman. You know that it's impossible for your body to pass a bill and have it become law.
Absolutely. Here's the broader point, though. Again, we want a response. You can agree or disagree with us, Lawrence, but the only ones who've been talking for the last 40 days are the House Republicans. The President of the United States should be ashamed of himself because he sat back and has just let this play out. The Senate Democrats are in denial. Lawrence, their only play here, look, their only play here is to shut down the government, to make Republicans look like the bad guys. Howard Dean said it, Chuck Schumer said it, Harry Reid said it.
Did Speaker Boehner and your fellow Republicans and Tea Party members tell Eric Cantor how horrifyingly embarrassing it was for him to misstate constitutional process the way he did? Any high school student in America knows that what Eric Cantor said yesterday was laughably impossible and stupid.
Not at all, Lawrence.
Why not? Why not, Congressman? Why would you let him say that and not tell him he's embarrassing his party?
Lawrence, here's why. Because there's a bigger point that you don't get, and there's a bigger point the Senate Democrats don't get. We are falling off a financial cliff. Our kids and our grandkids are going to be bankrupted. The American people realize that. The House Republicans do as well. And our leader, Eric Cantor, realizes it, which is why, once again, he's going to lead us in putting something in front of the Senate Democrats. So, as you said in your opening, we can come together on something and move to what really are the bigger fights when we look at the budget battle.
Has Eric Cantor ever led the Republicans to any legislative victory? And how can you have a leader who thinks that the House of Representatives is capable of passing a bill alone and having it become law?
Because, again, Lawrence, Eric Cantor gets it like the entire
He's never
Republican
led you to any
conferences.
success in the past, has he?
Eric, hey, I've been in Congress 3 months. He's been leading me from day one.
He's been there a lot longer than that. Did you see him win anything before you got there?
Hey, Lawrence, yeah, but I'm going to speak for my time here as a freshman member of Congress. The entire Republican leadership has been firm in where we need to go. It's like we've been talking to ourselves. Again, the president hasn't even been involved. That's been embarrassing. The Senate Democrats have been in denial. The American people aren't, Lawrence. They understand how serious this situation is.
Well, the Democrats are involved, and the president has been involved, and the Vice President Joe Biden's been involved, and they have negotiated they've negotiated, as you know, they've negotiated behind closed doors with John Boehner and other people on the Republican side a cut package of $33 billion. Is that something that you could vote for?
You know, first of all, Lawrence, again, just look at the symbolism. A while back, President Obama appoints Joe Biden as his guy to lead the negotiations. That next day, he went out of the country. They have not been involved.
They are involved, Congressman. We know they're involved. Joe Biden has been involved. Joe Biden negotiated the tax deal package with the Republicans in December. He's negotiating on this. Harry Reid's negotiating on this. And they have a proposal on the table for $33 billion. John Boehner is working with them on that proposal. Will you be able to vote for that proposal, or will you vote against that proposal if it comes to you?
I was with John Boehner 3 hours ago, and John Boehner said he wasn't working with them on that number. I don't know where you get this $33 billion number from.
All right, Congressman, it's what they're discussing in the back rooms that apparently you're not allowed in.
What they're discussing is how we're going to get the Senate Democrats to finally sit down at a table.
They have sat down. They've sat down. They've been talking for over a week. They're down to $33 billion. You're at $61 billion.
Lawrence, let's see if they're serious.
Are you stuck on the $61 billion? Will you pledge right now that you will vote against the $33 billion cut package?
I can pledge to you right now that tomorrow we are going to put the $61 billion and all of those amendments that the American people wanted us to vote on to defund Obamacare and the EPA, we are going to put that back in front of the Senate.
Okay.
And then I'm hoping the Senate responds with something.
And Congressman, when you vote for it, no matter what Eric Cantor tells you, you know that just the House voting on it and passing it does not mean it becomes law, right?
Oh, man, Lawrence, all we want is the Senate to come to the table and understand what we're going through right now. That's all.
All right. Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois, thank you very much for joining us tonight,
Thank you.
Congressman.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Okay. Thank you. Joining me now is